Live from downtown Vancouver at the Vancouver Film School campus, it's time for EP Live. Hey, welcome to EPN. My name is Victor Lucas, and we bring you the latest in everything cool. And we've got a very special episode of the Electric Playground today. We've got some animation powerhouses on the show, thanks to our friends at the Spark Animation Festival that's happening in Vancouver, Canada. Danny Antonucci, Bill Plimpton, and Karen Tolliver are all going to join us. I'll tell you all about them in a little bit. But first, we have a rundown to get to, and this one's going out to Marcus Steele Wright. It says, man, I missed this show. It and Icons were my two favorites when G4 was about video games. Love the chemistry, the back and forth, and the hidden gem segments. You could tell they were really friends and having fun talking about the classic Luigi's Mansion review for the GameCube, which has turned into a little bit of a controversial review. Remember, it was 2001, you guys. That was a long time ago. But thank you so much for the kind words, Marcus. This rundown is all yours. Sony and Naughty Dog set the release date for The Last of Us Part 2 a little too early. After just announcing the release date a few weeks ago, they've delayed the game by a few months. It was originally planned to hit the PlayStation 4 in February 2020, but will now arrive on May 29th, 2020. They say, what else? That they need a little more time to polish and tweak. The new release date brings the game even closer to the launch of the PlayStation 5, scheduled for holiday 2020. So, like the first game, The Last of Us Part 2 really will be one of the last big games for this console generation, and I don't think that's ever a bad thing. I think when we see developers say, look, we need to, push things back, we need to tweak, we need to improve, that's usually what happens. And Naughty Dog knows this game better than anybody, no pun intended. I just want this game to exceed our expectations, which are enormously high, right? They're massive, and this team is beloved for a good reason. So I want to love The Last of Us Part 2, and if a few extra months of waiting is what it takes for that to happen, I am totally okay with that. What about you guys? Let me know in the comments below. And The Last of Us Part 2 isn't the only big game being pushed back. Ubisoft has delayed 3 of their biggest upcoming games: the hacking experience, Watch Dogs Legion, their cartoonish open-world exploration game, Gods and Monsters, and the tactical shooter, Rainbow Six Quarantine. All 3 of them are now set to land during the next fiscal year, meaning between April 2020 to March 2021, which increases the likelihood that they'll be on next-generation consoles. The announcement comes just as Ubisoft has taken a big financial loss on their latest game, Ghost Recon Breakpoint, so they have a vested interest to take a little bit more time to make sure their next games are more successful. And I've been reading some of the comments that Yves Guillemot has been making about the lack of sales success for Ghost Recon Breakpoint, which I've been enjoying that game. I think it's pretty sweet. It's not perfect, but I didn't think Wildlands was that perfect. But definitely there is a recognition that they need to continue to, refine and make their games more impactful and not kind of rely on, the success of their previous titles to kind of usher in lots and lots of money and long-term success for everything else that they publish. They need to kind of differentiate as well. On some of the candid comments that he was talking about is that people are still playing Wildlands, and so Breakpoint feels a little too similar. What are you going to do? It's a sequel. But I think that's refreshing. I think they learned a lot with taking a little bit of a break with Assassin's Creed, and I think that's probably going to be. They're going to make less games per year, but they're going to make them better. And they have the teams and the experience and the wherewithal to make all that happen. I just hope that this doesn't translate to any layoffs or any cancellations or anything like that. I mean, if games don't sell, that's never a good thing for some of these big companies, especially when they employ as many people as Ubisoft does. But the other thing that we have to remember about Ubisoft is that once they release a game, that's rarely the end of the story. As we saw with Rainbow Six Siege, they support those titles for months and months and years to come. And that was definitely true with Wildlands. So let's see if Breakpoint has some legs, and let's see what happens with the rest of Ubisoft's big franchises. All right, Google's first big game-making studio is opening in the best game-making country in the world. The tech giant has announced that their first game development studio will be based in Montreal, with job applications already open on the site. Known as Stadia Games and Entertainment, the studio will make games exclusively for their cloud streaming platform and be run by Stadia VP Jade Raymond. Jade, apart from being a former EP co-host, hi Jade, has a long history in Montreal at studios like the Ubisoft Montreal, and EA Motive Studios, and she also opened and launched Ubisoft Toronto. So we can't wait to see what they make for Stadia. The streaming service goes online November 19th, and we still have a lot of questions about Stadia. We don't know, how this technology is going to work or if it will, be up to snuff or up to speed. But Google has a lot of money in the bank, and clearly they've staked out a reason to be in this business, and they've hired some fantastic people, Jade included, to kind of chase this and see what happens. I mean, conceptually, it's not hard to imagine a world where we're instantly playing games on the internet, and Google wants to be there with this. Now, if they're going to be talking about exclusives, they've got to make games that really, call attention to the platform and the technology and make us sit up and pay attention and say, yes, I want to not only get my Stadia, account, I also want to buy that exclusive game or buy access to that exclusive game. And none of this stuff is easy, and there's probably going to be a lot of stumbles and bumbles like there are in lots of cases across the video game industry. But it's hard to dispute that these are exciting days, transformational days, and let's see where we are a year from now with Stadia and all the other launches that are about to hit us. And another massive streaming platform is continuing their moves into the gaming world. Netflix has announced that their turn-based strategy game Narcos: Rise of the Cartels will launch November 19th, the same day that Stadia goes online. Unlike Stadia, you won't be able to play it on the streaming platform itself. It's instead a traditional console and PC adaptation of the Netflix series. However, Netflix has released simpler games like Minecraft Story Mode on their platform. So as technology gets better, we could be seeing more in-depth games playable on Netflix in the future. Again, I don't see how Netflix stays out of games. Just as it has become incredibly influential for the video game medium, if games get into the streaming market and start to deliver all kinds of content that way, Netflix is going to say, hey, we got the talent and the expertise and the servers and the experience with this stuff. Let's start putting games as part of your Netflix subscription, and then it's going to get, well, it already is crazy, let's face it, but it's just going to get crazier. It's going to get super nutty. I have got a review code for Narcos: Rise of the Cartels coming. I'm looking forward to playing this game, which looks like it's like a shooter / strategy type of experience. I love the show. I think the show is incredible. Actually, Netflix quoted one of my reviews that I did for like the third season. They took a little tag out of one of my reviews and stuck it in the TV commercial, and I heard about it from people watching the show, and they saw the commercial on TV in the States that they had quoted me, and I was like, what? That's amazing. Because they could probably tell how much I love the show. So I'm very excited for this game, and I hope it does not let me down. But I'll let you guys know as soon as I get a chance to play it. We are, however, in the middle of the game avalanche.